Uh, okay, a couple of housekeeping things. I sent out a link this morning to a program that is called 24 Topics. Okay. That is a millionaire real estate agent curriculum from KW, from Keller Williams University. There hasn't really been an official announcement about this unless I missed it yesterday. But Andy has essentially subscribed to something called the Southeast Educational Services Program. And what that does is it offers a Keller Williams University class that is going to be on Zoom once a week. It's going to be taught by a Keller Williams University certified trainer. And the course today, and I think there's going to be like a quarterly in-person as well. And the Market Center, of course, pays for that on everyone's behalf. So these opportunities are free to you. Okay. So I would highly recommend, I have forwarded you the email. It's been sent out several times from the Market Center, and there's information on the newsletter about registering for all of these classes. So over the course of this month, just to give you an idea of what opportunities are available, today from 1 to 4 is 24 topics. Here's that with all the noise in the background. Okay. So today it's 24 topics. They all have different Zoom links, so you need to register for each one individually. Again, they're all for free. Today is from 1 to 4. Okay. Next week, we have a system, or we have an opportunity on Command the MRA models. That is next Wednesday from 1 to 4. Okay. The following week is probably the most important course of your life. And I don't speak that to be exaggerating, okay? From 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock on Wednesday the 19th, you absolutely need to be in this room with Bob Kalinske, okay? Wealth Building 101 with Bob Kalinske. He's got an amazing story. He's an amazing man. I've got an opportunity to spend some time with him, and outside of his wealth, you would never know based on his character. And I don't mean the gosh, that sounds terrible. But he is a huge sharer. He built a lot of models. He's built a lot of systems, and he's had a huge amount of success. For those that don't know, he is the regional operating partner of the Southeast region, meaning the owner, and also the North Florida region. Okay. And basically the opportunities that you have at KW in the Southeast region are in large part because of him. Okay. So that is 10 to 12, Wednesday, the 19th. And then there's one more in January, I believe. The 26th is a lead generate like a millionaire. Part 1 is on Wednesday, the 26th from 1 to 4. And part 2 is Tuesday, the 1st from 1 to 4. Okay. All right. So I want to make sure that those are on the calendar for everyone. I will be in an all-day training class tomorrow and Friday. And so Pam and Candace are going to be running the morning huddles. Hey, Pam, do you want to, or I'm sorry, hey, Candace, do you want to do them in your room or do you want to do them in here?
Let's do them in my room.
Okay, so we'll send out a link for Candace's room. Pam will be joining Candace and we'll be doing role play. So I'm going to encourage everyone to be prepared with a topic and with a script, and everyone will get an opportunity to get a little feedback. Okay. The next housekeeping thing, just one more thing, is sure I hit this on the calendar.
And the first person to raise their hand to role play gets to choose what role play they want to do.
Love it. Love it. There's also next week that's top 20. So if you're in top 20, 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock, Monday and Thursday, there'll be a mastermind at the office. Okay, so make sure you've taken the calendar from the office and merged that with your personal calendar and identified the classes that mean the most to you. and that you feel are most necessary, and get them on your calendar. So a big part of tracking and a big part of follow-up is the calendar. So let's actually start with that concept. Okay. As I've mentioned before, this is my calendaring system in a nutshell. Okay. I have a paper planner. It is called the Planner Pad. Okay. Markia has a paper planner that she likes quite a bit. She posted a link about it yesterday. It's called the Agent. What is it called again?
The Agent Success Planner.
Agent Success Planner. She posted a number of links to like what a typical page looks like, where you can track your calls and your updates and your notes and your goals and these kind of things. So I highly recommend, even in 2022, a paper planner of some sort. Okay. Now, the way I use my paper planner is it becomes my kind of brain dump. So all of the things that are not day and time sensitive, meaning my appointments go on my Google Cal, which syncs with my cell phone. Okay. So let's start there. If I've committed to working with somebody or meeting somebody a certain day and time, that's an appointment. That would include, by the way, lead generation. That would include project time. That would include picking up your kid from school or going to church, whatever it is. If it's got a specific day and time, it needs to be in your calendar, and you just don't accept any other commitments, right? I want part of living an accountable life and part of having a real true coaching relationship is being super intentional with your time. One thing that I'm starting to see, not to get into a little diatribe here, but one of the things that I'm starting to see a lot in society really is that people are afraid of making commitments, right? I'll say, hey, can you meet me next Tuesday at 4? And they're like, oh, well, we'll see. I don't know. I'm kind of busy. What do you mean? Just look at your calendar and tell me if you're available at 4, right? I mean, you're a professional. You got a calendar, right? Like that, I have a hard time understanding that. So you're a professional now. It's time to make sure that you protect your time very, very, very intentionally. Okay. So block out the time that you need for your non-real estate things. That's first, right? And then you can go to real estate. Okay. God, family, then business. Y'all heard that phrase before? Okay. So you're not supposed to give your family what's left of you when you're done being a realtor all day. You're supposed to give your clients what time has been allotted to them based on what other commitments you've made to your family. Does that make sense? Okay. Now you have another time commitment, which is an 8:30 call every day, and a coaching call with me or a coaching call with Candace or whatever it is. So let's get that stuff on your calendar, sync it with your cell phone. Okay. That's where all your day and time commitments go. The ideas and your like to-dos and, oh, I need to call this person. Oh, I need to like email this person about something. That basically goes here. So I don't know if you guys can see this very well. This is my brain ideas for the last 3 days. Yes. Can you see if Miriam can help, please?
I already did. She said no, because we need your fingerprint.
Oh, gosh. Will you bring it to me, please? The kids see your passwords, you put the fingerprint on it, and then you need the fingerprint. Ryan, it sounds like you've had this exact same thing happen to you before, haven't you?
Oh yes, it's fun. We got people in every room now.
Yes.
Working.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So all of my ideas are here, right? My notes from my conversations that I'm having, the people who I need to follow up with. I've got call the HVAC guy on here. I've got, calling the PSI people. I mean, everything I've got to do that is not a time and day sensitive thing, it goes here, meaning the non-appointments. Okay.
And what planner did you say you use?
I have a Planner Pro, plannerpro.com. Hang on one second for me. Okay.
Didn't someone, is it Candace? Are you using the bold planner? I just was curious like how that one was, or is someone using that one? Maybe not. No.
No, I'm not using the bold planner,
Oh, okay.
but I heard it was good.
Okay. I get the laptop and he's on like 4 different screens and the Zoom is gone. I understand what all you guys are going through. I really do. It's all intentionality around how you spend your time, and it's the way that you react to all the chaos going on right now. Right. I'm far from perfect, but I've been on my best behavior for a couple of days. So I appreciate everyone being flexible and hanging in there with me. Okay, so let's summarize. If it's a day and time, it deserves a slot on your calendar. If it's basically just something that you need to remember and get back to or do that's not sensitive for day and time, it should go on a paper calendar, in my opinion. Okay. Now, when the idea for today is follow up, right? So let's kind of just go way out to like a 30,000 foot view. And here's the thing with follow up, or here's the thing with your daily activities as a realtor, is more or less you're going to spend all day long just making a bunch of promises to people, right? I'll send you this, I'll email you that, I'll connect you with this person, I'll call you in 3 weeks, I'll let me send you to a credit repair person. You're basically just making a series of promises all day long. So the biggest issue with follow-up is, how do you make sure all that gets done, right? Because as we discussed yesterday, if you mess it up, right, if you let somebody something slips through the cracks, right? Oh, I'll call you March 1st. Hey, Bill, if you call me March 1st, you can be my buyer's agent. If you don't call me March 1st, you ain't going to be my buyer's agent. How are you going to make sure that happens? You see what I'm saying? And you should consider every piece of follow-up just like that. Look, I'm testing you, right? HVAC guy, if you call me March 1st, you're my guy. If you can't call me March 1st, I can't work with you. See what I'm saying? I'm hiring you because I don't want to worry about it. That's now that I'm transferring that to you. That is now your job, right? So if you let something like that slip through the cracks, it could cost you $10,000, $20,000, right? So what is your system to make sure that doesn't happen? Okay, so I have named a lot of different systems. Let me touch on a few right now. One of them is the pipeline, right? We talked about the pipeline quite a bit. So at all times when you enter your workspace, you have a list of the people that you believe will transact over the next 12 months. Okay, and every day you're staring at that list. By the way, if you got one person on that list, you need to get more people on the list. You see what I'm saying? My recommendation is 3 times the number of people that you want to have closed in a year. That should be on the pipeline. And there's a video on the systems page about how to set that up. My recommendation real quickly on that is 4 different categories. Okay, the 10s want to transact in the next 60 days. Okay, the 9s want to transact in 3 months to 4 months from now, roughly. Okay, the 8s 5 to 6 months, and the 7s 7 months to the rest of the year. Okay, and you can either do it on a different color Post-it notes or different color markers or different columns or whatever. It doesn't make a difference as long as it makes sense for you. And the idea is that is constantly changing, right? As I mentioned yesterday, somebody who says March is going to buy in September, somebody who says September is going to buy in March, somebody who says, yeah, you're definitely my guy, is going to pick somebody else. Somebody who says, yeah, we're getting married and everything's great, is going to not get married. I mean, there are so many things that will change somebody's life that you just have to be prepared financially to deal with all of that. Meaning you got to have so many people that you might have to hire a showing agent every once in a while to make sure that you get paid often enough. Okay. So please, outside of knowing how many listings you need to take a month, staring at your pipeline every day is probably the single most important thing you can do in this business. It's having a reality check on the current state of your prospects. Okay. If you ain't got enough, there's nothing more important than going to find some more. Okay. Now, every single time that you are on the phone with one of those people, there should be a question or a statement made at the end of that call that says something to the effect of, the next thing that will happen is I will call you on at this time for this reason, right? You want there to be a continuation, right? Here's what's going to happen next, right? The lender is going to process all your credit repair stuff. Then we're going to pull your credit again. Then we'll talk in a week to see if we're ready or not, right? So there's always something that you're asking them to do, or some reason why you're going to follow up with them specifically at a certain day and time, or day most likely. Make sense? And that also keeps the relationship going, so they are starting to expect things from you and you're doing them, which subconsciously makes you a better fit to be their partner. Make sense? Okay. Any questions so far? Just to touch on that idea that you said a second ago, Ryan, is I got to tell you, I've used like 25 planners, right? I mean, I've tested every one of them out, and what I find, I kept trying to like merge different things, and there's a bunch of planners that have like write out your vision each day, and circle the face of how you feel and all that stuff. Like, look, I'm not, if that gets you in the right mind frame, go ahead. For me, it was just plain and simple. I need somewhere to write my notes, and I need somewhere to keep my appointments, right? And so this thing has like a very specific way of taking information from here down. I don't really use that so much. I just like the format of this page. So whatever makes certain that you don't miss commitments, that's a great planner for you. Okay. You know who Susan Corley was the one that introduced me to this particular planner, and she's actually done quite a bit of research too. So if you have some questions for her, I'm sure she'd be happy to give you some feedback on that. And a lot of them have free downloads where you can download like a sample week or whatever and see how you feel after the week. But this one's the one that I like the most right now. Okay. So the big question is, how are you going to follow up with all of these people? Right? Make sense? Okay, I want to show you a couple of ways to think through this this project. Okay, so here is, I'm going to pull this up and share. One moment. Okay, so this document should look very familiar to you. If it doesn't, please send me a message today telling me how much you want to earn this year, and I will send you a custom version of it. Okay, this is the PC systems page. Okay, so here is a tab at the bottom that is called, let me make sure I put it in the right place, transaction management, TRX management. Okay, here's just a couple of visuals of how you might consider keeping things organized. Okay, I made some recommendations. I don't know if it was superstition. We did lose some files a couple years ago, and so Luth and I completely changed the way that we manage our stuff. She has a hard drive in the Philippines. I have several hard drives here. We save everything in the cloud. All of our client files are duplicated in Google Drive for quick access. And so meanwhile, you're putting all your files onto command. We went a step further and downloaded all of the executed files and put them in a client file on Google Drive, just so I would have easy access to it without having to go into command. That was before command mobile. And I could also share all those files with the client very easily as well. So And then once the file closed, I put them in a closed file for that year. So it's like 2020 closed files. And then I just dragged all the closings from that year inside. Okay, so pre-transaction, here's a couple different ways to track some information, okay? Prospects, clients, pendings. This is this one little visual that I used to have in the office, which is prospects is these are the people that I'm courting, but they haven't signed anything yet. Okay, most likely these are the 8, the 9s and 10s from your pipeline board. Okay, client, once you've signed something, you're my client. Now I'll do a lot of things for you. Until you've committed to me, I may or may not be committed to you. But as soon as you sign the paperwork, man, I'll come and get you in the middle of the night if necessary. You see what I'm saying? Okay, pendings is obviously the ones that are under contract. So imagine you have this board in your office and you walk into your office and you've got one person who hasn't yet committed to you and you got nothing pending. If you see that information, I think you might be more likely to make some extra calls that day. Is that fair to say? Let me get a tiny bit of participation. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Yeah. Very fair.
Yes.
Okay. Do you think somebody that's 200 pounds overweight is getting on the scale every day?
No.
Why not? Julissa, you laughing at me?
No, that's Lorenzo.
Oh. Why do you think they're not getting on the scale?
Apparently they might want to lose weight. So they probably don't want to see that 200 pounds if they're not progressing.
Well, yeah, I would say that if they have interest in losing weight, they probably are because they're doing something about it. But if they've got no interest in losing weight, then they're not hopping on the scale because they're in denial.
Right.
Many of us are in denial about the current state of our real estate business.
Right.
The Nile is a river in Egypt. I don't know why I like that, but I do.
I mean, I understand the Nile, but what is the law? What does that mean even?
I don't know, but I like it.
Okay, so you see what I'm saying? So imagine you had this board in your office and you walked in every day and you saw the fact that there was, not enough people on it. Maybe we need to give ourselves some reminders that our business is in its infant stages, right? We need to get more people. I mean, I remember at one point, like I had multiple people with the same name on the board. Like I literally could not keep it straight. I was like, oh, the Smiths. Wait, are they the ones buying in Norcross or Smyrna? I can't remember. And like, I know that sounds insane, but sometimes that's what you have to do in order to make sure that you got enough people to help. I mean, I'm basically collecting people. Okay. All right. Here's another way of looking at some of the data. This is another potential board that you can use for follow-up. This is an example of current transactions, right? So now once the person is under contract, I had a board that said like client, address, seller, buyer, binding date, due diligence date, financing contingency, appraisal contingency. I knew who the lender was, I knew who the attorney was, and I knew what the closing date was. And I just loved seeing all the information right there. My assistant had obviously the same thing. And every week she would say, oh, hey, it's Monday. We got the financing for the Jones on Tuesday. We got the appraisal for the Smiths on Wednesday. And we got the Jordan closing on Friday. You all good? You see what I'm saying? Because I needed a second brain at that. So I needed somebody to remind me what the priority was. So this just gave me an opportunity to see it all in one glance. Okay. And I got to the point where I was typically using the same attorneys and the same lenders. And so, I'd call my lender and say, hey, let's run the status of all these transactions that are in process, right? Instead of making 5 calls, and make 1 call and talk about 5 files. Does that make sense? What if you had that board in your office right now and you had 1 person on it, or you had 0 people on it? Would that encourage you to double down on your commitment?
Yes, it would.
Okay. So I appreciate you sharing that. We all have kind of this unwritten agreement, I hope, that we allow ourselves to be vulnerable here. right? You know, I'm doing fine, but I'm not where I want to be, right? Like we're all making progress, right? There's always, you know, there's a page like this for me too that makes me say, oh my gosh, I'm so underperforming, right? Let me get to work. Okay, just really quickly, post transaction, here's another way to look at some of the data, right? Close date, address, seller, buyer, source of lead, sales price, GCI, what you paid to PC, what you paid to the market center, what you paid in royalty, what you paid to FMLS, what you paid to KW Cares or whatever, and net check, right? So that's a great way of accounting for each of your transactions. And you can quickly see, hey, I'm doing open houses every single weekend, but I hadn't had a closing from an open house in 2 years. Well, maybe we're not doing something correctly, or maybe we're missing out in the follow-up somewhere. Does that make sense? Okay, remember that this is a total, the topic is off topic, but the lesson is not. Remember what I told you about when FSBOs hire their agent finally? Remember what I told you about who the agent is that they hire? The agent that was most blank and blank.
Persistent.
Yep. What's the other one?
I forget.
Consistent.
I'm thinking of persistent and consistent, essentially
Follow
the
up.
same. It's helpful,
Ah.
right? So I think you should adopt that mindset when you're out there collecting relationships, right? Is let's see, how can I be the most helpful to as many people as possible today, right? How can I go beyond what they're expecting from me or expecting from a real estate agent in general, right? And what are the systems that I have put into place to prove my persistency and consistency? Like I chatted on LinkedIn a week or two ago with a woman who I think she replied to like a listing call or something like that, probably 15 years ago. We've never worked together officially. We just chat here and there. And I literally have not sent her any marketing in probably 5 or 6 years. And the first thing out of her mouth was, I just love how often you send me stuff. Isn't that interesting?
Maybe she appreciates you not sending her stuff.
Maybe there's another realtor that's doing it that looks like me and she thinks it's me.
Hey, maybe.
I guess in some ways it doesn't really even matter. My point is that how can we make certain that we are consistent over time, right? We make certain that we're consistent over time by having a commitment to touch people in our database every quarter, right? Using something like the DTD2 system, right? By the way, extra credit to who can tell me what the letters are for this week. Come on, you've been calling them all week, right? We're not starting the year out not doing DTD2. Am I wrong? Oh my goodness.
We're all going to look in the chats.
You're what?
I said we are all going to look in the chats.
Okay, it's A and W. So every single person in your database who has a last name that ends in A or a last name that ends in W should get a call from you this week. And next week, it'll be 2 other letters. And 13 weeks from now, you'll have touched every one of them. And you do that 4 times a year. That way, everyone hears from you 4 times each year. You got to understand something, guys. This is a really important concept. In today's digital age, here's the thing. Everyone wants things to be easy. Give it to me easy. Make it simple for me. I got to press a button and whatever I want shows up in a day at my house. You see what I'm saying? We're training our society to want things easy. Well, what's the easy way to transact real estate? The easy way is to hit a button or 2 online and get connected to some stranger who in many ways can create an experience just as good as yours, right? So my next question to you is, how do we avoid that? Because you're either going to be the guy that's spending thousands and thousands and thousands to be the guy they find when they hit on Zillow or Redfin or whatever, or you're going to be the person that those people call before they go online. But if you can't keep your guys offline, you're not going to retain them. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And it's only getting, that's only progressing more and more as we speak, right? So your job is to go deep with people, okay? I learned a lesson from Mo, who's our former CEO, about 10 years ago, right after I came to KW. And she said something that I have never forgotten. She said, instead of having a database of 2,000 people, what if you had a database of 25 people? And you knew what their cat's name was, and you knew what their child was studying in college, and you knew what their handicapped was in golf. Like, you knew them. You knew what kind of wine they wanted. And each one
Would
of them
be an
sent you-
example of a smart database.
Yes, that's a great example. Exactly. And you knew exactly how to touch them on a very emotional level. What if every one of them sent you a piece of business each year? It's going to be super warm. They're going to have, pumped you up, and you have an incredibly high chance of closing that. There's only a few people on this call that have goals out to sell more than 25 homes a year. You see what I'm saying? This business doesn't have to be crazy complicated. Oftentimes we complicate it as a justification for our inactivity. Let me say that again. Sometimes we overcomplicate this business as a justification for inaction. Okay. If I tell myself that this business is overwhelming and hard, then when I suffer from overwhelm, then it's acceptable because that's what this business is about. No. If you're overwhelmed, then write all the things down that you're overwhelmed out and look at the list and pick the one that's most important and get to work. And as soon as you're done with that, look at the list again, pick the next one that's most important, get to work. One thing at a time. You see what I'm saying? Remember 20 years ago when I was getting out of college, the magic word was multitasking. Hey, are you a good multitasker? Hey, you can do multitasking, right? Oh yeah, I'm a master multitasker. No, you're not. You're fooling yourself. Does that make sense? We were trained to think that that was the right thing to do. That's not helpful, right? It's not helpful. So pick the thing that's most important and go nail it. You're overwhelmed. I shared something with should I share it, Candace? Okay. Do you have it handy? It's going to take me a minute to pull it up. I sent this to Candace a few weeks ago, and I said to her, I said, can I share this, or is this too much? What did she say? I think the first sentence should be removed.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is. It says, I don't know who needs to hear this, but you're not overwhelmed. You're lazy and unorganized. Wake up earlier, get an agenda book, create a routine, create boundaries and say no, stick to your schedule, write it down and adhere to your deadlines. You're standing in your own way.
Perfect. Perfectly said. Now,
I
what was
agree.
the first line?
I don't know
This-
who needs
this
to
is
hear
not-
this.
This is not my quote, by the way. This is somebody else, created this or whatever.
It's the you're lazy and unorganized that I objected to.
That's the hard truth.
That's the hard truth, guys. Ryan, you're reacting. What are you hearing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair to an extent. You might not be lazy and unorganized. You might really have too much to do, but there are a lot of people who are lazy and unorganized. Everyone's somewhat unorganized.
I think at the very least you're unorganized.
Right.
Lazy.
You might not
is-
be lazy, but you definitely have to figure out how to get it all in. I mean, that's just part of life.
I think lazy is that kind of idea I was just chatting about, which is the inaction. Like you're paralyzed, and so you're not doing the stuff, because you've got this stress and anxiety, and so you're not doing anything, right?
Bill,
Because you're paralyzed.
Bill, can I say this? Sometimes when it appears that you're being lazy, I think sometimes it's just that you don't know where to start.
Yep.
And you
Yep.
don't really have a system, because I'm coming into the game. I'm new in the game, and I don't mind admitting that sometimes I don't know where to start, because it is, and I do say overwhelming, because when you don't have a system, that's the overwhelming part.
Yep,
The
the order of
beautiful thing, guys,
priorities.
the beautiful thing is we have lots of systems, right? And so that's where the foundational GPS from yesterday comes in, is we look at you and you say, hey, I'm going to check on you a couple things. Are you prepared to go on a listing presentation? Are you prepared to go on a buyer presentation? Do you have a system for organizing the people that you're nurturing, right? Do you have a database? Do you have
Hey, Bill.
one sec. Do you have a system of tracking it, right? Do you record what your results and accomplishments are each day? Are you committed every single day to learning something? Right? Marquia, what were you going to say?
Say sometimes it's not about being lazy. Sometimes it's just tasks that we're just not good at, and just have to find somebody or a way to motivate yourself to do it. Like, I don't like data entry or posting on social media, so I found a way for me not to be lazy, to get help in those areas so that I can be good at the things that I like to do.
Yeah, lazy hit a nerve. I'm not calling y'all lazy, by the way.
No, I'm saying some people can just be lazy because they're just not motivated to just do that because they don't enjoy doing it.
Well, or they're just, you've heard the idea of good is the enemy of great, right? Like, I'm good. Like, gas is $3 or $3.15. I don't really care. Thank God. But I'm not great. Like, I'm living a pretty close to a life by design, but like I have some goals that I haven't accomplished yet, right? So like we all have potential. You see what I'm saying? But I'm good. Should I go put myself under a bunch of stress in order to sell another home and, miss a dinner or whatever? I don't know. I don't think I want to. You see what I'm saying? But my coach in me should say, hey, start thinking bigger. If you were to sell that home, how many more families can you help? See what I'm saying? There's somebody that I'm stealing somebody's job from them by all the stuff I'm doing that I shouldn't be doing. You follow what I'm saying? Okay, who else has a reaction to that phrase? Tracy, you've been making all kinds of faces.
No, for me, you know what? Sometimes, so I didn't take offense to anything you said. I said, so for me, I think sometimes the overwhelm is being prepared to do all of these things. Like, like do one thing at a time. So if we're going to learn command, let's learn command before we talk about anything else. You know what I mean?
I can't imagine one single scenario where I would ever recommend that. So put learning command towards the bottom of that list.
Well, yeah, that was just an example. That was the first thing I think of. But like I think it's the overwhelm is the actual doing. Like, what does that look like? So your pipeline. So for some people, I think because everybody learns on different levels. You know what I mean? Some people are visual. Some people, you can just talk it and they know it. But I think sometimes you just need to, okay, this is just to break it down how simple it is. All you need to do for this is go get a date book, whatever date book you like, and figure it out, right? Then for your pipeline, go get you a poster board, go get you some stickies and put it up there, the kind of thing. So people won't think that, it's more than what it actually is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kind of thing. Yeah. So I think
it's just taking action.
Yeah, but that action piece is, what does that look like? I think for some people, like, what is the pipeline? Even though you've showed us that, but I know when you come into the PC Huddle, everybody doesn't start on the same You know,
Page.
so you could be talking about things and you're like, oh my God, what are you talking about? So that kind of, you know what I mean? I know I'm probably confusing you, but just
No, not, I mean, not at all. Not at all.
here's what you need. So here's what you need for FISBOs or expires. Vulcan 7. Here's how you get into it. This is what you do. Da, 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 da. This is a good time to go in and those kinds of things. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
So
I do.
instead of saying, okay, we got Vulcan 7 for expires, but then, you know, so I'm going to be that person who's going to go to Vulcan 7 and then something's going to pop up and it's going to like, okay, so I don't know that part. Now I got to come back and say, okay, I went to Vulcan 7 and I couldn't get in because of blah, blah, blah. I went into Vulcan 7. I didn't know what I was looking at, you know, just, I
I
think you
mean,
would
honestly,
get more.
I know this sounds, I don't mean this to
Give it
sound,
to me, Bill.
yeah, like, I mean, did anyone go to like a class on how to use their iPhone?
Okay, Bill,
The
that's
one-
where
I was the-
that's where
I
I
was the one
am.
who-
Okay, I'm
All
sorry.
right, give me an
That's
answer.
where I am
Did anyone
trying
go
to
to a
figure
class?
out
Did
what
anyone
fit.
go to a class on an iPhone?
I did. So I was the one who was in the
I
store
think
when I
if there's
went back to
anybody that
Apple.
did, it was you.
Yes, I was like, show me. If I'm buying this $1,000 phone, I
Yeah.
need to know what this phone can do for me. Why am I coming back to Apple? Show me what I can do with it. Here's what I need to do with the phone. Can
Oh,
it be
wait, so
done?
you outsourced it?
No, I went to when I bought the phone, I stood in front of the girl and she was going to tell me what this phone could do for me. This is what I need this phone for, and I do it. So those are the, you know what I mean?
Oh, so you're essentially looking for the sales representative of the real estate business, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay, I totally hear that. I totally respect that. And that is, hang on. That's essentially what that's between a combination of Ignite and the training calendar and the PC group and some of these systems and models, that's and all of, you know, KW University and all that. That's what we're attempting to create for you. So I think I don't mean to be dismissive on this, but I think ultimately there's going to be a lot of times, I mean, even for me, that you think you know something, but it turns out you need a little bit more guidance, or you thought that might be a right plan, but maybe you realize that maybe it won't be. Or like I was talking to somebody the other day and they said, you know, I'm trying to figure out how to sync this with that. I said, I've never done that. Let me go to YouTube. I watch a 2-minute video. Now I know how to do it. Right. So, I mean, there's going to be learning every day.
And I think, Bill, the opposite of overwhelm is simplify, right? And well, I don't know if that's the exact opposite, but
That sounds
simplifying
good.
things.
I like that.
Yeah, simplifying things does make it easier. And one way to simplify it is to remember what your schedule looks like. And there's 4 things that need to be on your schedule. One is mindset. Somehow you got to get your mindset right, preferably in the morning. 2 is lead gen. 3 is learning. And 4 is appointments. That's all you need on your schedule. And so if you just think this week, my learning is going to be themed around whatever it is that you want to learn, FISBO scripts or FISBO follow-up, and you do some Googling, and that's the learning that you do for that week. You're going to be far ahead than just spinning and saying, oh my gosh, I have to learn this, I have to learn that, I have to learn this. Just do it systematically and focus on getting good at something, and then adding another piece in. And that's the way to keep from being overwhelmed. And I say this all the time, but you've got a huge safety net. So if you get business, you've got people here who will help you. You've got mentors, you've got Bill, you've got me, you've got other agents in the office, you've got our leaders, our team leaders, I mean. So you don't have to spend energy worrying about being overwhelmed.
Candace, I'm going to step outside that circle for 1 second because I'm a new agent and I came in with a deal on the table.
Yes, you did.
And there were so many times that I got referred to this person, to that person. Well, call this person. We'll call that person. And I'm not trying to blow anything up. I'm just letting people know where the holes are in the system. And the only way you're gonna know is that we come to you and tell you,
Oh,
because
100%.
that's a
Yeah, that's for sure.
That's-
You have to speak up. I mean, that's one of the things, one of the main things that we see in productivity coaching is the people who are successful are the people who engage and the people who
Yes.
do ask questions. And sometimes you do have to be a squeaky wheel, and that's okay because people are busy, but just be a squeaky wheel. You're taking
Right.
care of your client.
And by the way, I want to train you guys to live by your schedule. Right. So when somebody messages me and says, hey, I'll be in the office tomorrow, can I swing by? I got to look at my calendar, and most likely it's back to back. Right. And so I say, well, I have availability from 12:45 to 1. And they're 20 minutes late. Well, I don't have availability anymore. You see what I'm saying? I'm living by a series of appointments back to back to back. So we don't want to, we're modeling behavior. I'm not saying we intentionally are inaccessible, right? Hopefully by now, many of you should know that Candace and I are pretty accessible. But all you got to do is raise your hand and poke us, right? But we don't, no office has somebody sitting there waiting for a call from their people all day long. And even if they did, if they're on a call, they can't take another one, right? So this business is going to require a little bit of self-study. Like I would be much more likely to help somebody that says, hey, I have a question about this. I watched a 5-minute video and on 3 minutes and 15 seconds it said this. Can you help me understand it? Rather than, how do I do an open house? How do I do an open house shows me that you've taken virtually no initiative to learn anything about doing an open house. Y'all see the difference there?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I touch on what you just said too, though?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I've, not been in the industry super long, couple of years, but I definitely remember, and Bill can tell you, I will text him about random stuff or hit him up on WhatsApp. And even though, like you said, like he's busy and other people are busy, that list of everybody that they have at the end of that email, I sit there and I go down the list. I start off, I'll call Melody because I don't care about being annoying. I'm essentially not to be like, not saying nothing against y'all, but I'm like, I'm the reason, we're all in this together. So nobody gets paid until I get paid. So I have an attitude like I'm calling these people like they work for me.
Yeah, I like that.
Honestly,
it feels annoying sometimes, and I know I can be annoying, but I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm here to make money. So if some first person on the list isn't available, I'll go to the next person. And what really, really helped me was really getting about 4 or 5 agents' numbers who weren't necessarily on the list, but people who were just friendly and cool. Like, I feel like I'm somebody who explains things differently than somebody at the office might explain it, or ways they're not allowed to explain it the way I can explain it. So I found a few people who were kind of like-minded like me, so that if they can't get to it right then, by the time they circle back, usually I'll have already had it maybe solved already, because KW is so big. And
Okay, so
somebody in your office.
Oh, we're gonna have
okay,
fun
so
today.
my name is Leslie Booker. What's your name?
Go, Leslie. I love it.
Leslie, you can have my information 100%. Of course,
Okay.
I'm on a learning curve too, but you know how it is.
All right.
Okay, guys. So, Kaya, thank you for sharing that. I have always been the squeaky wheel. Okay, and I haven't cared one bit what other people thought about it. And now it's my time to be on the receiving line of most of those calls, and I'm happy to serve in that role. So, that's the beauty of KW's culture, is that we're here to help one another, and we all come from a spirit of abundance. Okay. And I don't like, I know I've said a number of things. Wealthy people are jerks. You guys are all lazy. Don't not watch videos. Like, I'm gonna go back and watch this one and be like, oh my gosh, what were you saying? So just please understand, we're all learning together. Okay. And I'm not trying to point anyone out specifically, but people that are wildly successful in whatever endeavor they have chosen are literally obsessed about getting better at it. Right. So, how do I go and create a better system for this to happen. And they're like maniacal about it, right? Because that's what they've chosen to be passionate about. So if you're intending to use open houses to build your business, you should be watching every open house video there is online and see, oh my gosh, this agent in St. Louis, their sign up page is like this. And because they asked this one question, they can get this piece of information, and that's caused them to increase their conversion ratio by 15%. I mean, I know that sounds dorky, but guys, that's the power of a big organization. By the way, an organization doesn't get big by dropping the ball. An organization gets big by having a great value proposition and then executing on it, right? In fact, if you have a small organization, you shouldn't say to yourself, oh my gosh, they have a small organization, I bet I can get the broker anytime. You should say, why the hell is it so small? Does that make sense? Why is it so small? I mean, if they're good, they should have more people, right? And as they get more people, you got more problems. So you got to hire more people to handle those people's problems. I mean, that's a different way to look at it, right? We have like 10 staff people. When we first opened, we didn't have that. We have a great value proposition. We tell it to the world, and we got a bunch of people having great lives. So more people come, we got to hire more staff. That big isn't bad, guys. Big is proof you're doing the good stuff. But obviously there's holes in the cracks, and those need to be addressed, but they'll only get addressed if you guys bring them up and say, hey, I think we might need a 4th agent mentor. Okay, great. We'll have one by next week. Bring it up. You follow me? Man, we're covering it all today, aren't we? I appreciate that. Okay, let me end with one little concept here, okay? This is a document that I've called the Daily Success List. And I put a quote on here for a very specific reason. I said, everything worthwhile is uphill, and no one accidentally goes uphill. I heard that from John Maxwell. He came to Family Union a few years ago and got a chance to hear him. Guys, it ain't easy. It's simple. It's just not easy. Make sense? Okay, so what I have on here is a list or a potential list of the things that you should be doing every day. Open command, review your goals, social media activity, reviewing your pipeline. Is the one thing done? Completing your daily tracking. Got a place for you to identify what is the one thing. I got a place for you to identify who you've talked to that day, right? This is meant to be like you get it reading the way you want it. It's a Word doc. You can change it around. And you identify the people that you're chatting with. If your goal is to hit 15 a day, as soon as you hit 15, you can go do whatever you want to do. You've hit your goal. But if you haven't talked to 15 and that's your goal, then I don't know if you earned the right to go get your nails done in the middle of the day or play golf or whatever. Make sense? That right below it, it has an opportunity for you to track on a daily basis the things I'm asking you to track on a weekly basis. Contacts, people you added to the database, people you added to the pipeline, seller held, seller taken, buyer held, buyer taken, pendings and closings. If you earned a 0, put a 0. Okay. If enough days go by when you have to circle that I didn't take any buyers today. I didn't take any buyers today either. Didn't take any buyers today. Well, when's that going to stop? Is it because you're not making the calls? Is it because you don't know if you're saying the right thing? Is it because you're not tracking it right? You're not following up with it right? And then you say, hey, coach, I think I'm not right. Can you help me with that? Right? Or hey, Bill, I think my scripts on open house follow-ups aren't any good. Can you send me some of yours? Right? Ask some real specific questions. What did I learn today? What promises did I make? Right? Let's say I made 5 promises. Okay, do I check them all off before the end of the day? What went well today? Right? What could I improve today? I realized that I don't know. Okay, so how many days are you going to allow yourself to be told that before you go learn it? Right? And you go on a board and say, hey, what's your favorite commission objection, handler? And you guys know there's literally thousands of groups on Facebook of real estate agents inside and outside of Keller Williams, right? That all experiencing the same thing as you are. All of them. They're all dealing with iBuyers. They're all dealing with low inventory. They're all dealing with COVID. You see what I'm saying? Lab coat agents got 100,000 agents in there. Has anyone gone to the file section in lab coat agents? There's literally hundreds of downloads. LABCOAT, lab coat, like a doctor would wear a lab coat. Lab coat agents, 3 words. Okay, there's a KW Command Facebook group. Okay, Command Your Conversion is another Facebook group where Nick Baldwin talks a bunch about Facebook ads and smart plans and all kinds of stuff like that. Okay, you got to be a student of the business. And most importantly, you got to treat it like a job. Okay. And I've talked to people that are like, it was my birthday 3 weeks ago, so I'm still kind of recovering from that. Is that what you would tell your employer? You get a month off for your birthday? Really? Right? And again, you're not hiring me to tell you that everything you're doing is right. You're hiring me to look at what I see and tell you what I think. Is that fair? And I see a lot of people that are not giving it an honest day's work. Is this thing working? Thoughts?
It's working. We hear you. And yes, I would concur.
Thank you for your participation. How you participate in here is how you participate out there. Candace, kind of soften the edges a little for us.
I hope everybody gets off this call and lead generates.
Yeah.
Because I hope you have the courage to go after your dreams. And that just takes, I mean, we can put all kinds, this is where mindset comes in. We can put all sorts of obstacles in, like, I don't know what to say if I call somebody, but you know what? I say this all the time. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. You can just call with care. If you're doing DT-D2s today, call with care. Just be curious, find out how people are, be interested in them. And somehow it'll go around to real estate. It always does, especially when they know you're in real estate. And if they don't, then you just say, hey, I'm now in real estate, and they'll ask about it. It's like, this is the other thing I say, is that it's kind of like if you're at a party with a lawyer, you automatically think of something you want to ask because it's like free advice. People are like that with real estate agents too. Everybody has questions.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're a doctor. Hey, does this look normal to you?
Yeah.
It's like, and by the way, they do not like that. But you should be ready to have those conversations. Donna posted, I'll share hers. She has a similar sheet like this, but it's even more detailed, and it has things like, putting like how many active listings came on the market that day, how many homes went pending in a certain area. They'll have on the team meeting where it says, like, here's your party chatter. She cut and paste that. So somebody says, well, how's the market? Rather than saying, oh, it's great, it's strong, I'm busy, right? That provides no value, right? It'd say, oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun. Did you know that in our area, prices are up 17.3% in the last 12 months? Did you know that? By the way,
Bill,
why do you ask? Yeah.
If you let me share my screen right quick, I'll just show everybody Remine again, because it's a great place to.
All right, you're good.
Okay, hang on, let me get to FMLS. If you log into FMLS and you go to products and go to Remine. Let's see here.
Just one more quick note while we're pulling that up is, guys, follow-up is just making good on your promises. Okay, so what I have is I would basically put, the majority of my heyday was prior to Command, right? But what I would end up doing is I'd have just a bunch of scratch sheets of paper throughout the day and notes on my calendar. And then once I got an assistant, I'd take a picture of it and poof, it would appear in my CRM, right? So every day I'd open the CRM and it'd say, call these 4 people. I call the 4 people, right? So you can do that in command, but the only flaw there is you got to open it, right? You got to commit to opening command every day, and then it'll tell you who you need to touch. So whatever system you're willing to commit to touching every day, that's the place you should be putting these notes.
Well, I can't, for some reason, I can't get into FMLS right now, but anyway, it's just on the homepage of Remind. If you haven't been there, go there, because you can put in the zip code and it'll tell you what's going on in that market, how many homes are actively being on the market, how many homes are pending, how many homes closed. So you can look it up for the past day, for the past 7 days, for the past 30 days. So that's just on the homepage of Remind.
All right, let me see if I can get in really quickly.
I tried it twice and it just says something's wrong.
First MLS. All right, so by the way, when somebody asks you how the market is, which is people's favorite question for realtors, don't talk about how busy you are, because then you'll find out that they bought a home with somebody else, and you'll be like, why did they buy a home with somebody else? They bought a home with somebody else because you told them you were busy, right? Tell them you're having a lot of fun. Oh, geez. I don't even know my passwords anymore. Let me look at my password page. Do you guys have a password page that was written on your systems? Right? Do you have a password page that shows you what all your passwords are?
Yes.
I just need to get into the habit of having more than 3 passwords.
Yes.
Well, you can have 100 if you have a list.
After a certain age, I think you just need that list of everything and keep it up here.
Yeah, that list is, that age was like 30.
For sure. Thanks, Bill.
By the way, if you can remember all your passwords, or let me say it differently, if you can remember all the details about all your clients, you ain't got enough clients. Okay. Your brain is not a good database.
Mm-mm.
Okay. I think everyone's probably over 30 on this call. Maybe.
Nope.
Well, you guys look like you're. No, that didn't come out right. I meant to
Stop
say.
right there.
No, Bill, that was a setup.
You need me
Bill.
to soften that up a little bit, Bill?
Yeah, we can. Please stop.
You can take that one, Candace. Go ahead, Candace.
Oh man, I'm gonna get a bunch of
Y'all
resignation
look so
letters today.
wise. Sure.
I'm just seeing if you guys are listening out there.
Let me just say this, you all look younger than me.
We're having some fun today. I appreciate y'all. All right.
Bill, you know we paying attention to all the bad stuff. We catching all the lazy.
Oh, yeah.
Like Andy said, sometimes I gotta stab
Coming
you.
for
In the
you,
front.
Bill. It's coming for you, Bill.
I know. All right, no one quit today, please. All right. See this
think
little
you're-
thing that says Market Watch?
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
you're in Matrix, you're not in Remind.
That is true. But I can get into Matrix today and for some reason not Remind. So I'll just show you this real fast. Market Watch, this little widget thing. So you can look, there's been 1,111 listings that have come on the market residential in the last 7 days. If I go to 3 days, it's 642. Right? If you want to know the day today, or let's do 24 hours. In the last 24 hours, there's been 335 listings hit the market. So here's another stab in the front. How many of them were you? Right? There's been 283 homes that went pending. This is a little tricky way to think about it, but pending is when oftentimes if there's a due diligence period, they'll go to active under contract first, then go to pending when the due diligence period is over. So I think this is probably a better look at how many have gone under contract, which is 112. So 112 listings went under contract yesterday. meaning 100 and that's 224 agents who put something on their pending board yesterday. How many of those were you? Right? 547 closings. The business is happening, you guys. Right? Now you can also customize it where you can do it for certain areas or certain price ranges or something like that. Right? But if somebody says, how's the market? Say, hey, I was just looking this morning, as I always do. And in the last 24 hours, would you believe there's been 335 new listings? Well, it's only January. It's right after the holidays. No one's looking until the spring. Not true. 335 people. Right? And 283 of them, or 112 of them went under contract. And we had over 547 closings yesterday. By the way, while I'm right here, see this little thing that says my listings? You guys should have something in here that says my office active listings. 63 right now. You can call these agents and say, oh my gosh, you have such a new, beautiful listing in Canton. Congratulations. My name is Lorinda Montgomery, and I just want to see if there's anything that I can do to help you with that listing. Would you like me to go door knocking for it? Would you like me to host an open house for it? Oh my gosh. The market is insane. Look at this property. $495. I sold a house like 3 doors down from this for $300 about 6 years ago. Oh, it's Raina's. Hey, Raina, congratulations on your listing at Chestnut Landing. That's a beautiful home. I don't know if you're busy this weekend, but I would like to host an open house for you on Saturday. Would that be okay? Oh, you do that? Of course I would. Is there anything I can do to help? Do you have some signs? Do you want me to go buy some signs, etc.? There you go. You got an open house. See what I'm saying? Post on the Roswell page, Facebook page. Post on the Georgia Legacy group page. Okay. Okay. What's your biggest takeaway from today?
Get organized.
Yes.
Know your systems. Create systems that will help you and
Mhm.
make them work.
That's right. And now we go back to the systems page, just really quickly. On. Oops.
And Bill, more than anything I've learned is to keep a positive attitude.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. I mean, I'm not pretending like I've always been happy when my kids come in the room and mess up my Zooms, but
That was payback for a bit. That was payback for
I
you, Bill.
was pretty good today though. But like, you know, that can ruin somebody's day if they let them. If they're already on the edge of like not wanting to work, then they'll say, oh, my son interrupted my Zooms this morning, and so I'm gonna not do anything all day.
This is
Right? Okay, so down here you can see we've got our calendaring systems, database systems, pipeline, sellers, buyers, 411, transaction management, 8-week intro, client info sheet, financial, follow-up.
I don't know if I saw all of that on my Life by Design down there.
All right, double check. If it's not there, let me know.
Okay.
Routines, growth plan, pre-qualification, password, social media. While we're right here, I'll show you this since this class is about follow-up. You need to hop off, you can hop off. I said, what is your reminder system? Create a system to track every file that you're currently working on, dry erase board, cork board, or whatever. And you can have a couple little things that say basically who's on the pipeline, who's hot, who have I set appointments with, who's signed agreements, and who's pending. Right. And this is similar to what I showed you yesterday or earlier today with the client address, binding date, due diligence, financing, closing, etc. What I used to do is picture this as like a 8.5 by 11 scratch sheet of paper. Right. And in the middle here, what's up? Oh, wow. That's awesome.
He did the challenge.
Can we do this?
No, it's very important.
We have a friend whose daughter's been born premature and she's been in the hospital for like probably 6 months, 8 months, and she just got out. Okay, thank you. Okay, so right here in the kind of the middle of the page, I put or towards the top, I put their name, number, and email. On the left-hand side, I put the source of the lead, the date I met them, and then basically every task I did for them, right? On 11/5, I emailed them homes in Roswell. On 11/7, I showed them homes in Roswell. On 11/8, I emailed them some more homes in Roswell. On 11/9, I sent them to a different lender, whatever it may be, right? So this became kind of the ongoing list of the tasks that I had done for them. And then on the right-hand side, I'd put like the lender info and, contact information of like, the spouse or the uncle or whoever else was kind of involved in the process. And then this became, I had a stack of these single sheets of paper. As soon as I thought I was going to get paid, then I gave them a folder. As soon as they signed something, usually I gave them a folder. And then I'd walk around with a folder full of these who were the people who hadn't yet earned a folder, right? I'm not saying don't use the tech, but like, don't not do it because you don't understand the tech, right? Gary built his business out of index cards. You see what I'm saying? Okay. Again, if you do not have a custom systems document, send me a message with how much money you'd like to make this year, and I will share one with you specifically with all the little icons or whatever at the bottom. If you look back at yours and you feel like you're missing something, peg me, or what do you call it? Ping me, and I will. I'll look into that. Okay.
Bill, I have a question. When you could, after completing the Life by Design, do you automatically see that, or do I need to send it to you?
I would automatically see it, but I'm not given any type of notification that you've edited it. So if you were to just write me and said, hey, check out my Life by Design, I can access it. I'm not notified that you make certain changes.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, but if you do have a change or you want me to look at something, just poke me. Best way to get me, guys, is WhatsApp. Okay. All right, I'll see everyone at 1 o'clock. Tomorrow and Friday we'll be in Candace's room. We'll post that, and we'll be doing role play. And let me give you an assignment. Let me give you the game plan for the day. Okay. The game plan for today is find one person who wants to transact in the next 12 months and add them to your pipeline. One person. Before you go to bed tonight, you should be able to tell me, I spoke to so-and-so and they plan on doing something this year. I don't care how many people you got to call or touch or poke or social media or whatever. One person today. Okay.
Got it.
All right, you guys, have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Bill.
Very much.
You do. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye, Bill. Thank you.
Bye-bye.